important that we begin to change the mindset of young people to know that your vote counts.
They don't understand that the legislative arm of government is actually a co-equal arm of government.
We have an incredible amount of potential.
Whatever it is I was doing, because of my personal DNA, it had to be of an international standard, which is what, seriously speaking, is all about.
Hello there. This is the season for giving. It's Christmas after all, and everybody's thinking about the gifts that they'll get. In fact, in recent times, Nigerians have been praying for those they elected last May to at least make good the promise that they had to give every jobless Nigerian 5,000 naira. Now, we do know that the rate of unemployment has risen tremendously in the last few months, especially by the third quarter of the year. More than 7 million people were out of jobs. The rate kept on increasing. Where's all that money going to come from? I wonder. But it's Christmas, so we're talking about positive things. That's why today I have guests in the studio that will help us see that sometimes handouts are not as good as they look. Instead, there are options to that. After the break, we'll get to meet all of those interesting people that will give a different perspective to what we call impact investing. Don't go away.
Since 2014, the unemployment rate in Nigeria has risen 4 consecutive times to an all rate of 9.9% in the third quarter of 2015, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The unemployment rate measures the number of people actively looking for a job as a percentage of the labor force. This demanded an urgent government policy direction, the creation of a social welfare program of at least 5,000 naira monthly that will cater to the 25 million poorest and most vulnerable citizens in Nigeria. The question then is, how empowering can this social welfare program become? This and more to be discussed.
Now, that little report by our producer there has shown to us how endemic the problem. I mean, we don't even need statistics to show it. Every family would have somebody who's jobless at this point in time, no doubt about that. And even if you had a job, have you been paid? And even if you have been paid, people have been laid off. Now, the problem remains that there are tons of young people out there who need some kind of help. When I mentioned the word impact investment, it looked like I was some big academic, but the truth is, not lie. It's because I have one academic who brought the idea up, at least with me. That's why I invited her into the studio with people who think like she does. That person is Henrietta. I call you Hetty. You will do the Onwuegbuzie for me. Henrietta, and she's accompanied here by somebody that is my aburo proper, and a social activist, and somebody who, well, Kudrat Initiative for Development is run by Hafsat Abiola. Until recently, you were employed with the Ogun State government as a special assistant.
Yes.
You know, your job, what was the job specifically?
My job was special advisor to His Excellency Senator Amosun, responsible for the Millennium Development Goals.
Mm-hmm. So you understand development. Now, Hetty, when you called me up and said something like, Adeso, did you hear Nigerians are crying for the 5,000? Were you trying to say that government shouldn't pay that 5,000, or that people don't deserve that 5,000, or what?
No, I was trying to say that people can actually be empowered to earn much more than 5,000 at much less expense to the government, and that I didn't think that, while I appreciate what government is trying to do because it's a real sincere resolve to helping to alleviate poverty, I didn't think it was sustainable, and I fear that rather than alleviate poverty, we're going to exacerbate the problem. Mm-hmm. Simply because 5,000 naira per month will do little or nothing for anyone.
What kind of statistics, what kind of figures would that come to? I mean, if we say more than 7 million children...
They promise 5,000 per month to 25 million jobless Nigerians, whereas there are at least 74 million jobless youth. So that's already a problem. I don't know how you're going to pick out 25 out of 74 million jobless youth, which will increase year on year as the population grows. And right now we know that the economy in Nigeria is actually heading towards a depression. Mm-hmm. And so this doesn't appear to be sustainable in any way. And so knowing fully well that there's a method that will not only empower these people in a more sustainable way and therefore alleviate poverty in a more significant and sustainable manner without costing governments
An arm and a leg.
An arm and a leg, okay? It's painful to see us go into a proven method of failure, because this has failed in many countries and continues to be a problem in countries that have started it.
Do you think it was a mistake for government to have made that kind of promise while campaigning?
I think that the candidate, while he was candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari, did not realize the state of the economy that he was going to find at the end of May. And I think we all saw that when he came into office at the end of May, he seemed to go into a period of shock when he saw the state of our economy, our depleted reserves, the general decline of oil prices and its impact on our economy. And so I don't know that we can hold him responsible for those promises now. It's not practical. If we don't have the money, then the focus should be on growing the economy, not on spending what you don't have.
What I find interesting about what you're doing is that you found out that actually there's a better way around this thing.
Absolutely.
And that better, it's not like you're against handouts, are you?
Well, I think it's like giving one a fish and feeding him for a day, as opposed to teaching them to fish and feeding them for life. So I'm very much for alleviating poverty, but I also know that, I believe that there's a better way to arrive at the goal.
What strategy should government be thinking about now? Or you think government should be looking for options?
So the government, I think, in Nigeria, as we saw when the issue of the allowances for senators and House of Rep members came up, often thinks of how to share money. What government really should be thinking about in Nigeria now is how to grow the economy.
How to make more.
No, it's not a matter of sharing the cake. I know that this idea of 5,000 naira is how to get the poor to get a share of the national cake. First, let us actually grow this national cake. Let's grow it big enough for the size of our country. And then everybody can, at Christmas time or whenever there's a holiday, we can share from the cake. But we have not grown the cake. We're always sharing. And at some point, you can't share nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take a break and I will give you all ideas of how to bake that cake when we bring Kola Masha, who's a young man who's in the area of agricultural business, on set with us on the panel segment. Don't go away. I'm going to start straight by introducing Kola Masha, who is the managing director of Doreo Partners, an impact investing firm focused on the African agricultural sector. Doreo invests in early-stage businesses that increase the profitability of smallholder agriculture, which in turn creates market forces that attract young people into agriculture, unlocking millions of jobs. Now they're showing your picture. That's you on site, right, with your farmers. Yep. Maybe we should talk a little bit about that first.
Sure, sure.
So how does Doreo work?
So basically what we do is we recognize that we have a serious challenge in this country, and that challenge is insurgencies. And the only way to address that is because fundamentally, as oxygen is to fire, so are unemployed youth to insurgencies. And so we address that by creating opportunities for young people to be actively engaged. Our goal is to create about 10 million jobs by 2030. So our flagship investment, Babangona, basically solves the underlying structural reason why smallholder farmers are poor by unlocking capital to them and supporting them with a suite of services to ensure that they run very effective, efficient, profitable businesses.
Kola, you heard about the 5,000 thing. What did that do to you when you heard it?
I think, as I said, she talked about the government today is well-meaning. I think the reality, they mean well. But I think the reality is it's about how do you multiply your impact. I could give somebody 5,000, or I could create a system where I could use that 5,000 to pull in 50,000, and then deploy that in a way that will help many more people, and not only help, but actually bring that 5,000 back to me as government so I can reinvest that.
Okay, are we telling government to go back on their promise? Okay, no, don't go back on your promise, but rethink that promise. Absolutely. Which is where I think, so what's the solution? I wonder if the Lagos Business School is in position to solve this problem. I don't know.
Well, I think we can. We would be very happy to work with government, go back to the drawing table and see how we can actually turn these threats into opportunities, because they are opportunities. Okay, rather than be an expense item, these people, the unemployed people, the poor, can actually be turned into assets very easily. Because I give you an example. Today, for example, in the construction industry, if you want a good tiler or a good bricklayer, we go outside Nigeria. Whereas if we got the private sector, created incentives, policy incentives for the private sector to set up training schools for bricklayers, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, the construction industry will have a go-to place where they can actually, these people can train there.
And then
there will be a pool of skilled workers, and construction in construction industry will thrive in Nigeria. So the truth is that we need to align our needs, the unemployment with our needs, because many people are unemployed, but their jobs looking for people to do, and they're not finding people in Nigeria who can do them.
Well, it's nice to know there are options and opportunities, especially because as it's about Christmas, I must say at least, let's give people a good Christmas gift, right? And let's say something positive. How does government get out of this quietly? Let's just 1 minute each.
I think that the government you're already giving 5,000 to your students. We should engage in a strategic partnership with academic institutions, with partners like the German Agency for International Development. Germany has the highest labor productivity in the world, and they train people to do exactly that, to become, excellent carpenters, welders, construction workers. So come and work with us. We're going to give these people 5,000 naira, train them, certify them. So we're not going back on our promise, but we're not feeding into the stereotype that people should have a handout. We're actually creating wealth. We're not just eating.
For now, we must say Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. What is what? But if anybody is listening at all, even us, even if we're not elected officials, we should begin to think of what do we do to our relatives instead of giving them 5,000 naira. Find the impactful things that they can do with that 5,000 naira that can multiply it. That's our message, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again.